What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Pro Publications YouTube channel. As always, me, Rich. And on this channel, we talk about zines, DIY culture. Basically, if you're into print media, publishing of any sort, you might want to consider subscribing to the channel. And if you can help me out by liking the video, I appreciate it. Today, we got a mega zine review. We have been piling up on zines, and today we're going to start tackling some of those zines. So first of all, let's get into Secret Cave. Secret Cave is kind of an anthology. It kind of focuses on the intersection between pop culture and technology and kind of the cultural impacts that one or the other has. And it is a very well put together zine. It's an oldie but a goodie. I don't believe that they're printing any more of them. But Lee Tyrell, the fellow who was putting this zine together, or one of, because I think it was a duo, but one of them, they have a YouTube channel now that's also very fun and interesting, which I'm going to link below. But in Secret Cave, issue number 2, called Breathe, there's a lot of good articles. The one I liked the most was by the homie from Almost Normal Comics. If you haven't seen my review of Almost Normal Comics, you should check that out. I found it to be very, very interesting. He talks about kind of like why he likes lowbrow art, as he calls it, and kind of his whole saga and story of becoming the cartoonist that he's become. And he's an amazing cartoonist, but I found that very interesting. On top of that, I liked a lot of the interviews they had in this issue. They had an interview by someone who was kind of a cartoonist, or maybe by default became a cartoonist, and they were talking to him about all the way he was kind of using like social media as a way of mixed media. And that cartoonist's name was Chris Onstad. And beyond that, there was also an interview with Adam Bolerch, a filmmaker that was good as well, and Gina Brown, who was a kind of a 2D art director. So maybe if we all hit him up on YouTube and tell him, hey man, maybe make some more Secret Caves, maybe we can get some of these to come back out. Now we got Selkie Pub. So what did I get from Selkie Pub? I got calls for submissions, which basically talks about the company, why it formed, and what they aim to do. And I am all for this company. Selkie Publishing basically wants to create a working class narrative, and according to what she says in this, basically she's trying to aim at making it regional. That is what I'm always saying, that zines are going to become kind of like these autonomous areas, these areas that have their own little subcultures, like every little community does, right? Documenting and telling their stories. And I think that Selkie Pub is one of the first that I've heard clearly state that, and I am all for that, man. So one of the things that I like that is touched upon on this zine is the non-formal art and how it's unrestricted, and in a way that allows it to be a little more fluid, a little more creative in a sense, because it's not bogged down by what should be or how it's supposed to be, and it's just kind of just is. And like honestly, the way these are made are just amazing. The person publishing these, she's amazing at what she's doing. Another one was My First Zine. It also has kind of like this very, very elaborate way of adding another zine in it. Like there's a mini zine, and I just, the attention to detail and the fact that you can tell these are home printed, and it just adds that much more value to it, where I respect it that much more. So that's in these two, right? The printing quality on both of these are amazing. On all of them, they're amazing, but for whatever reason, I really do enjoy that pouch that she put into both of these. I thought that was great. I love the fact that in My First Zine, you have this, what seems to be a very, very first, or very, very rough first zine in the back of it. I thought that was very clever. And a lot of the things that is spoken about, like in the minimalist zine and things like that, is kind of giving you to understand. And even with My First Zine, this idea that your art is important, your art does matter. It deals with kind of like the ego versus the like that attitude that we have of like self-deprecation of like, oh, I'm just not good enough. But if I have to recommend only one zine for you to get from Selkie Pub, it would have to be this one. This zine right here, which is entitled What We Do, The Invisible Workdays in the Gig Economy. For me at least, I found it very refreshing, because you have to understand, Feral Publication, I put a lot of time and effort into Feral Publication, and a lot of times people don't understand, don't respect that. And it's the same thing with my restaurant. When I was working on the restaurant before the doors open, when it was just an idea and I would hammer away at hours working on that, people looked at me like, well, it's not, you're not really working, you're just doing something that you think is fun. And they try to depreciate your work, your labor, It's a scene that you can see is clearly rooted in what Selkie Pub is trying to accomplish, which is telling working class stories regionally. And this is a prime example of them succeeding at that. And this is a company that I want to see flourish, and I want to see whatever it is they print. I want to be a part of that because they seem to have a very similar narrative to Feral Publication of like, I want more lowbrow art. I want working class humor. I want to tell working class stories and have working class characters. And I want to be able to do that. And obviously I'm not doing regional. I'm doing more broad. But the idea of it being regional as well is just, it's good. It's great. I hope Sucky Punch doesn't mind, but I'm going to leave you with the minimalist zine. I'm going to read a few of it. It reads, are you worried that some people consider art and beauty to be extra, non-essential, frivolous fluff tacked onto the solid things of true consequence in life? Bad news. It's worse than you think. There are those who consider art a blemish on their contentment, a parasite on the substance of life, the destroyer of all peace. Get all this crap out of here. Luckily, you and I understand that beauty is essential. I think they're a company to watch. I really think this is one of those companies where if you can get a zine from them, you should. And just to be able to say you got a zine from them. So peep them out. And lastly, we got the latest issue of Call and Response. This is a project that I love. And this issue was just very, very interesting for me for multiple reasons. To begin with, if you're not familiar with Call and Response, if you haven't seen my last review of issue number 8, let me go ahead and read this for you. Call and Response is a collaborative magazine which pairs artists of various media in order to create unique artistic conversation. It goes like this. Contributors each submit an original work in their preferred media. This is the call. Next, those submissions are shuffled up and sent back out to the contributors at random. Finally, each contributor creates a new piece inspired by or in conversation with the call they received. This is the response. It is our hope that this exercise will spark new ideas, challenge the participants, and cultivate creative partnerships that will continue beyond this magazine. First of all, that as a prompt, that as an artistic exercise, fucking amazing. It's amazing. The print quality of this is such a beautifully bound, beautifully formatted zine. This is amazing. And they're charging $10 for this. And in the accountant's note, basically, he argues that because of the quality and the size, because this is like a 52-page zine of just amazing, amazing content. Very, very amazing work, printed beautifully. And because of that, basically they were saying that they would run themselves into the ground if they didn't begin to charge more. And I do think that this is worth $10 without a doubt. If you're into art and you want to stretch yourself out, I think this zine is amazing for that. If you like the idea of being given prompts and trying to figure something out, you should hit them up because they're always looking for people to submit. They're always looking for new contributors. So this is something I think you guys should peep out. So Vroom Vroom was my favorite in the issue. And these are the honorable mentions here. But Vroom Vroom basically is this very, very feminist discussion. And I love the response as well. But let me go ahead and read something from Vroom Vroom, which I liked a lot. I wish I could say this was the last time I went looking for romance and ended up touching a dick. But it wasn't and probably won't be. I spent a lifetime letting men get whatever they wanted while expecting nothing in return. I often wonder if Mickey had kissed me in that race car bed, asked me how I was feeling, or fingered the fuck out of me, if I would be the same woman I am now. Would I be conditioned to think the point of love is to give everything to a man and hope that he chooses me? Who knows? But what's even harder to understand, why do I keep falling for that peanut in the jar trick? And then this is the art. And Vroom Vroom is amazingly written, and that art really captures the emotional tone and feeling that's conveyed in the written piece. And that's what I'm talking about, of like the fact that this artist was able to tap into that same emotional feeling that I felt when I read the piece. I thought that's amazing, and that's an amazing exercise, artistic exercise, as well as just something amazing to see, the different interpretations of that same thought, that same emotion. And that's what you can get from call and response. But that's all I got for you guys, man. I hope you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, as well as I'm going to have the links below for all the zinesters that I mentioned. Show them some love. Selkie Pub on Instagram, Lee Tyrell on YouTube, and Call and Response on Insta and everything else. And just you guys link up with them, man. These are amazing zines. These are amazing zinesters doing some amazing shit. Peep them out. Alright, guys. Till next time. Lates.
Fight the fascists.